Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. Welcome once again. It's Thursday. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning in London at 1 a.m. and it's 10 a.m. in Tokyo, Japan. Also on a Friday, they're having their breakfast right now and getting ready to go off to work, or they could be there right now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan, and I am here with you up until the next hour. We'll be here for one full hour. And we're here each Friday, or each Thursday, I should say, at this particular time, wherever you are. And of course, we come to you, for those of you who are watching us for the first time, I'm going to quickly explain how the show works. Okay, this is what we do. We come in and we start the show, and me as the host, of course, I'm going to get things rolling, throwing out a topic, and you are allowed to chime in too at any time you like. You can come in there and say hello. All you have to do is just type your little fingers on that keyboard, whatever you want to say, and I'll see you right there on the big screen. And of course, when you do that, you can be able to talk to others as well as talk to me too, because everybody's going to be in the room at the same time. Now, we come to you in three different places. We come to you from Facebook. We're live on Facebook. We're on YouTube, and we're live on Instagram as well. So any three of those you can choose, and you're right there with us, because no matter where you are, no matter where you may be, all around the world, there's not a place you can go on God's green earth and not catch us. We're right here for you. So you have all of that and a lot more, because we're going to do everything that we normally do in conjunction with having you along with us. We are going to do our regular thing, and I'll tell you about that right now. As a matter of fact, minutes from now, coming up, we got Brian Camp coming along with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. That's coming along not too far away in the show. We'll be here live. You'll get the chance to see him. You'll meet him, and you can greet him as well. And because we're going to be linking up. He's coming out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's going to link up with the folks here, right here in New York City. Also, later on in the program, we are going to give you what's happening on this day in history. On this day in history, we've got a lot to talk about. We'll have all of that information for you. We'll convey that to you. And later on in the program, before the show is over, we do what we do each week, because we bring you those latest, maybe not the latest, but we like to call them classics. Those classic movies dating back all the way back to the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. However, they call classic movies, and we have my picks of the week for this weekend, just in case you'd like to catch up on movies from Turner Classic Movies. And we have all of that coming up, and it's all coming through the show. Now, we want to remind you that all of the opinions and the expressions and all of the thoughts and ideas and everything that we talk about, right? Whatever we say here on Facebook does not necessarily reflect the opinion or the view of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Zoom, and any other social media or broadcast facility. So we got all of that out of the way. So thank you guys so much for being along with us. I want to say hi to all of you guys who are watching. A lot of you guys want to just hang out idly, and that's okay. You may not want to say anything. That's okay. A lot of people do that. They just want to sit back and enjoy the show, because whatever time you could spend with us, we really appreciate it. And we hope that it's the fact that you could stay with us for the whole entire hour. Tell your friends about us. As a matter of fact, those of you who are watching us on Facebook, do me a favor, tag all of your friends. You can tag this show to them right now as we speak, and they'll come in and they'll see you, they'll see all of us together, and they can be part of the show. And who knows, maybe they'll be here consistently just like you are. That's the way it goes. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. It's all over now, so you can put that in the back. Once we get through New Year's, we see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I hope you have enjoyed your holiday. It's not over yet, as I said. But a lot of people have traveled, and this is the sad part about the whole thing. A lot of you guys have traveled, and those of you who made it there to wherever your destination was and was able to make it back, we thank you for that. We thank God for that. We thank you. And we're glad that you're back home. But there are a lot of people who are sleeping at airports right now. Would you imagine that? Can you imagine sleeping at airports? And it's all due to mostly it started out with the weather, right? Because we had that big storm, especially in Buffalo. We want to talk about that. All of the people, they found a lot of, the toll went up in deaths. And again, people were sleeping in airports. And of course, most of the basic airlines went back to normal. The only airline that's having a problem is Southwest Airline. Now, if you were a traveler on Southwest Airline, chances are you either didn't make it to your destination, or if you did make it to your destination and it was hard to get back because they canceled most of the flights. They canceled a lot of flights. And people are, as we speak right now, as we're talking right now, and we hope that a lot of them are sitting and being patient. I mean, how much patience can you have after laying in the airport for so many days and then have to maybe wait for a couple of more days, right? We hope that if you're watching us, we send our love out to you and hope that you will get home pretty soon. Now, this all came through a meltdown from Southwest Airlines. They call it the Southwest Airline meltdown. And this, as far as I'm concerned, and we all know this for a fact, it has no more to do with the weather, because all of the airlines, as I said, went back to normal. All of them are back to normal. They're flying their planes. Everybody's going to and fro, except for Southwest Airlines. Now, a lot of people have been dedicated to this airline for so many years. They flew on Southwest for years and years. And I don't know if they're going to change their mind the next time they flight, or next time they have to fly off somewhere. Is that going to be an importance? Because this, we don't know. They say they didn't update their system. The system is like, this is the year 2022, which in a few days will be 2023, and they're still working on systems that go back to the 90s. And so a lot of people couldn't even get through on their cell phones to Southwest Airlines. They couldn't get through to them. They couldn't get through to a lot of places. The people that worked at Southwest Airline couldn't get through to get to the people, the pilots that worked there, or anything like that. And so it canceled a lot of flights. And I don't know if you've seen the images on TV, on the news. They had luggage all over the place. If you go over to where, you get your luggage at the carousel, I mean, even the carousel stopped. After they put all the luggage out, they stopped the carousel from going around and around. They took all of the luggage, and what they did is they just piled it up in one spot, right? And it made it hard for the people who own those luggages to find their own, and it was all unorganized till at one particular point they started saying, well, we have to organize it in a certain way. Now, some people managed to get their luggages at the airport. Some didn't. And for the reason of the people who were staying there in the airports, just lying there and sleeping there, some of them couldn't afford hotels, so they had to stay there. Some booked in hotels. Now, can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? That you're spending this whole big amount of money to fly, and then you can't get your flight. Now you have to spend more money for a hotel, which I think, in my opinion, should be something that the airline should be responsible for. However, I heard that after the dust clears and everyone is home, they're saying, Southwest Airlines is saying for everyone who traveled with them to keep your receipts and, mail them to us, or, send copies to us, and they will be reimbursed, which I think is a good idea. But I think about at the time that they're there, and how are they eating? They're eating that airline food. You know, that some, I think some of them give them snacks. Some of them will give them snacks. I don't know. And I'm not going to even think about eating in the restaurants in the terminals, because you know how expensive that is. That could be very expensive. And doing that per day, you know, that could be very expensive. So it's a hardship for them, and that's what they're going through right now. And in some cases, it's going to take a couple of more days before they really get out of there. But we'll see. As days go on, we'll find out how it's going. And when I come back tomorrow on talk on the coffee hour, hopefully I will have some information on the progress. But then again, you'll probably get that before me anyway, because when you wake up in the morning, you turn on the news and you check out the progress of everything. So I don't know. I know as far as I hate to say it on the air, I do fly. I don't fly a lot, but I do fly. I don't fly as much as I used to, because I used to do a lot of road trips. I used to fly frequently. But people are probably thinking now, you know, what is it going to be the next time around? You know, even after they reimburse them, or maybe even tell them the next flight, wherever your destination is going to be on Southwest Airlines. And I don't know if people are actually going to even take that, and people just may even say all together, you know, I'm just not flying with them. I learned a lesson from this. All right. I learned a lesson from this by watching all of this. I didn't go away. I stayed in New York. I didn't go away. And I did learn a lesson. One of the lessons that I learned is that I will not be flying Southwest Airlines ever. You know, I never flown them before anyway. And so now I have a better reason not to fly them. But they're trying to get back in action. They have a lot of things to work out, a lot of things to do, a lot of updates and upgrades and everything like that to get back in action. And so we're gonna have to see how that pans out for them, because right now it doesn't look good. Anyway, a lot of people I've heard situations where people didn't even make their destination. They went out to see their families. They didn't even get there. They didn't even get there. And so for those people that didn't even get there, maybe they spent a couple of days waiting to see if they can get there, but, you know, still no flights. So they had to turn around and go back home. Now, I would say it would be better if you had gotten to the airport going to someplace, because you're basically still home, going someplace, and they say, well, the flights are canceled and we don't know when the next one is going to be. Cancel to this place and that place. Cancel. Then they turn around and go back home. So they didn't make it to their destination. And that's pretty bad, because, you know, I'm pretty sure they had their sights set on seeing family and friends and, you know, having dinner and gathering together, you know, and that didn't pan out. I heard another story where a guy had to go on, or he was supposed to go on a 8 to 9 day cruise, and he had to fly to his destination, get to the cruise. He never made it to that cruise. And so now who's ever on that cruise, everybody else is on that cruise. The cruise is gone, and he never made it. And so I think refunds are in order. That's what I think. But I am so sorry. I wish you could apologize for people and places and things like that, but it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. And for the rest of you who had a chance to bond with your family, even if you didn't go away, maybe you did something locally, we hopefully that you had a great Christmas and a festive one at that. And this had to be the most, whew, I just couldn't imagine. And which leads me to the people in Buffalo, that big storm in Buffalo. They hasn't seen it. That was like what they call a once in a lifetime storm. And some people say that they haven't seen a storm like that in 41 years, you know, and not 41 years. I think the year was 1941 when they had a storm like that. That's what it was. 1941. They haven't seen a storm like that since 1941. 1941 during Pearl Harbor, because remember Pearl Harbor, that was in December December 7th. So all of that, so I really don't know what to say. I just wish the people the very best. The people who are still stranded in the airports, I wish them the very best. And I just know that when they get home, they're not gonna fly for a long time. I know that's a nightmare. They have a nightmare going on, and they're not gonna want to fly for a long time. And frankly, I don't blame them. Take it easy, sit back, relax, and don't do anything. Here's one thing we're going to do. We're going to go over to Brian Camp right now. He's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he comes your way each week at this time with the latest developments in today's world of sports. I see he didn't get stranded because he's in Charlotte.
Yeah, it was a sad story. A lot of horror stories about the delayed flights. I know my wife was telling me about a person who was on next in line for a heart transplant and missed the flight, couldn't make the flight, and they had to give the kidney to somebody. I mean, it was a kidney I think it was a kidney or a heart transplant, and they had to give it to somebody else because they missed the flight. I don't know if it was Southwest, but it was a lot of people that were stranded. A lot of airlines were really going through a lot, but Southwest was the majority of the canceled flights. I've flown on Southwest. They're very uncomfortable rides. The ride is a very uncomfortable. I do not like it at all. And with Southwest, you can't choose your seats. They choose your seats for you and everything. Wow. Yeah. So it's an unfortunate thing. Just hope that.
Well, are you okay?
Transplant. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoever did not get that.
Well, you're coming in and out. You're coming in and out. I don't know what the problem is there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. So whoever did not get that transplant, they gave it to somebody else who was next in line. That was an unfortunate thing. I just hope that whoever that missed their transplant, that they will, will be okay. And sad thing, but.
Well, I have another reason. I already stated one reason that I wouldn't fly Southwest. And now that you mentioned your experience, there's another why I won't go there either. But the people that were stranded out there, a lot of people say for health reasons, they were like stranded because a lot of people had their medications in their bags, not the carry-on,
Yeah.
have their medications with them. And so that gives you another reason that whenever you fly, keep your medication in your carry-on bag.
Exactly. That's what I always do. I always keep it with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, one lady who was I saw on here in Charlotte, she was waiting for her flight, but her luggage was in Boston with her medication.
Wow.
And high blood pressure, and then she was on an oxygen mask, oxygen tank, and she was I don't know if you saw that, but she didn't get any oxygen. So hey, just Mother Nature is Mother Nature, but
Southwest Airlines is going to have to step up. They're going to have to be accountable for that.
Yeah, it is. But hello to everybody out there and that's watching, tuning in. Let me get to sports and the NBA. First of all, I hope everybody's holiday so far was great. In sports, in the NBA, the game between the Spurs and the Jazz on Monday night, right, was started 40 minutes late than scheduled due to what the Spurs term a potential security threat, which has impacted fans entering the AT&T Center. That's where the Spurs play their home games. Players and staff for both teams, stadium employees, and a few thousand fans were already inside when the announcement was made. No one was evacuated, but no more fans were allowed to enter into the arena for about a half hour. Fans were allowed again after the law enforcement determined it was no threat after all. So it's that time of the year. You're gonna have crazies. You're gonna have people threaten to do this and threaten to do that. So you gotta be very alert about what's your surroundings and everything. So you gotta be careful. In the NFL is another thing, another threat that occurred. Well, this time it did happen. In the NFL, some of the New York Giants football players were inside the Mall of America, doing a deadly shooting last Friday night at the nation's largest shopping center. This is one shopping center I've been wanting to go. This is the largest shopping center in the country. It's in Minnesota. This is where the Giants came into town to play the Vikings, and some of the New York Giant players were there. And it was a 19-year-old man who was killed during the shooting, which sent the mall into a lockdown, according to the police in Bloomington, Minnesota. But none of the players were there were hurt. Just unfortunately, one person was killed, it was a 19-year-old. So sad news in the world of soccer, soccer/football, depending on where you live at. In this country, we call it soccer. In the European countries, they call it football. The great Pele, who dies at the age of 82. He was the Brazilian king who won a record 3 World Cups and became one of the most commanding sports figure globally in the entire world. For the past century, he is considered as many as the greatest of all time, as we call it, the GOAT. He was 82 years old, so our prayers go out to Pele and his family who was connected with Pele. The Final Four is set for college football Saturday, New Year's Eve. The first game, number 3 ranked TCU will go against the Michigan Wolverines. The game starts at 4 o'clock on ESPN. The second game, number 4 ranked Ohio State will go against top ranked the Georgia Bulldogs. That's at 8 o'clock in a doubleheader. That game was on ESPN. And my Dallas Cowboys are playing tonight. The game is on, but we're not going to watch it now. We wait until 9 o'clock, then that's when we switch over. I'm playing against the Tennessee Titans. So a lot of sports tonight, NBA full, holidays coming up. We're about to close out this year and get ready for some new and better things. This day in sports, 1933, New York owner Jack Ruber refuses to release future Hall of Famer Babe Ruth to manage the Cincinnati Reds. Now, there was rumor that Babe Ruth wanted to be a manager, but he was denied because fearing that Ruth was going to segregate it, bring blacks and foreign players into the major leagues. So it was denied back then. I used to read stories about that. So he wanted to manage, but his owner refused him. 1965, CBS purchased the NFL TV rights for the 1966 through 68 season at $18.8 million a year. 1982, NCAA coach Paul Bear Bryant, the late Paul Bear Bryant, who coached at Alabama, ends his career with Alabama with 323 wins. Yes. 2007, Tom Brady sets an NFL record throwing 50 touchdowns, and his team becomes the first team to go 16-0 in a regular season. Yes, 16-0. And in 2020, the Milwaukee Bucks breaks the NBA record for most three-pointers made by a team, which was 29. Yes. Birthdays, 1962, Devon White, Major League Baseball outfielder, was born in Kingston, Jamaica. Ever been to Jamaica? It's a beautiful place. It's one of the best tropical islands you could ever go to. 1963, Sean Payton, NFL coach, 2009 Super Bowl champion, was born in San Mateo, California. And in 1973, Theo Epstein, baseball executive and president of baseball operations, was born in New York City, New York. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports.
What time does the game start for the Dallas Cowboys and when? So is it on Fox?
Is that on Fox? It's on was it Prime Video?
Okay, Prime Video. Okay.
Yes.
Some people don't have Prime Video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's unfortunate, like they'll put some of these great games on and some of these documentaries that I would love to see. And I don't have those particular outlets, like Prime Video or what's the other one? You have a few of them. Yeah.
You get Prime Video, you got well, the top two is Prime Video, Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
You got HBO Max, you got there's so many of them.
I figured, it's a funny thing, HBO Max, I have HBO, I have every HBO channel, right? Which I never watch. I never watch any of those HBO channels. I used to, but I stopped watching them. I would think that with that package deal, they would throw in, HBO Max, being that I'm a customer for so many years with them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that's where I'm going to leave cable. I've had it.
Well, there's that Fire Stick. I told you about the Fire Stick.
I still have it, and I've got to set it up. I got to
set it up.
Get a new account with Amazon because I have.
You'd be surprised the shows you could be watching. You'd be stuck to your TV all day.
Well, I don't want it to get that far, but it'll be good to know, that you could get all of these things because I saw, you told me about that. As a matter of fact, I have the stick thanks to you, but it's a matter of me setting it up. So I'm procrastinating on that. Well, I'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So look, I guess we'll catch you back here tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes, 10:20.
Okay, you got it.
All right.
Okay, take care of yourself.
Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Brian Camp with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. Of course, now he can go. He's free to go to watch his beloved Dallas Cowboys. I won't get to see them tonight. The only thing I can do is rely on the highlights, which of course I always do. Whenever I miss a football game or any kind of sporting event that I like, I always go to the highlights to find out who wins. It's not the same thing, but at least you'll be in the know, and then you can have something intelligent to talk about. When you talk sports, though, you have to watch the whole game, because you could sit back and say, oh, yeah, I know so-and-so won, but you don't know what happened in the games. You got to watch them, There you go. Anyway, Brian will be back tomorrow morning with us on the coffee hour. He'll be here starting the first part of the 2020 feature, sports update with the latest developments in today's world of sports. And then 22 the hour, DJ Pete will be here with entertainment news and reciting all of those birthdays of people of notoriety of that week. And it's all right here. Right here. Right here. And just in case you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. And if you're joining us for the first time, we invite you to stay with us and come back each week. Make it us your daily habit. Maybe not a daily habit, but a weekly habit. I say daily because you could pick up on the show at any time as long as you can check out our channel, our YouTube channel. You can check it out anytime because the past shows are there. All of the past shows are there. And speaking of the YouTube channel, just go there and you can watch us and what you do is subscribe to us, right? You click on to where it says subscribe, and that will give you the opportunity to know whenever we come on live or if we post something, a photo or a video or something, it gives you the notification. It will pop right up there. All you have to do is click that notification and it'll take you right there. Because a lot of people, when they watch the show, they may forget about what time it comes on. But if you're online for any reason, you see that notification, it alerts you right there and you could snap on right to it. And that's one of the good things about subscribing to the channel. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And for you rest of you guys who are watching us on Facebook, again, I urge you to tag this show while we have time. We're like almost a half hour into the show now, just like a minute. Yeah. So we're like a half hour into the show right now. And you could take the show, right, and you can send it right to your friends. And that's what they call tagging them. So tag the show to your friends. And if they see us, they'll come in. And of course, they'll be with us as well. And if you have anything in particular you want to talk about, of course, we would love to talk to you. Just you want to say hi to us, that would be great. If you want to chime in on conversation, that would be great. And we have all that information for you. All the information that you need are right here. And while you guys are getting yourselves together and sitting back, relaxing, it's time for us to give you what's happening in this day in history. On this day in history, let's get started, shall we? Back in 1934, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers did their first joint movie called Flying Down to Rio. It was directed by Thornton Freeland, and that premiered in New York City. On this day in history, in 1933, Sons of the Desert, a film directed by William A. Cedar, starring Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy, that was released at that time. On this day in history, 1937, Pan Am Airlines started service between San Francisco and Auckland, New Zealand. On this day in history, in 1955, Barbra Streisand recorded her first recording called You'll Never Know at the age of 13 years old. On this day in history, in 1958, TV soap opera Young Dr. Malone debuted. On this day in history, in 1965, Thunderball, the fourth James Bond movie starring Sean Connery and Claudine Auger, that premiered in Tokyo, Japan. Also in 1965, the Supremes released their single, My World is Empty Without You. Back in 1970, Occupational Safety and Health Act of the United States signed in law by President Richard M. Nixon. Back in 1972, Life magazine ceased publication. In 1978, Spain Constitution goes into effect. In 1982, Jamaican Post issues commemorative postage stamp featuring reggae star and recording artist Bob Marley. Back in 1989, Jane Pauley says goodbye to NBC's Today Show. Back in 1991, A Christmas Carol starring Patrick Smith and a one-man show closes at the Eugene O'Neill Theater in New York City after a limited run of 14 performances. In 2016, US President Barack Obama retaliates against Russia for hacking American computer system and trying to influence the 2016 presidential election by ejecting 35 Russian spies and imposing sanctions. And former mayor of Los Angeles, Tom Bradley, was born on this day in 1917 in Calvert, Texas. He died September 29th, 1998 at the age of 80 years old from a heart attack. In 1925, actress Dana Merrill of the movie Operation Petticoat. She was born in New York City and she died in 2017. And actress Mary Tyler Moore was born on this day in 1936 in Brooklyn, New York. And she died January 25th in 2017 at the age of 80 years old. Actor John Voight was born on this day in 1938. He was born in Yonkers, New York. He's 84 years old today. In 1947, actor Tom Danson from Cheers was born in San Diego, California. He's 75 years old today. In 1951, singer, songwriter, and actress Yvonne Elliman was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. She's 71 years old today. In 1952, jazz saxophonist Joe Lovano was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and he's 70 years old today. In 1964, actress Kimberly Russell was born on this day. Kimberly Russell played Sarah in Head of the Class. She was born in Brooklyn, New York. She's 58 years old today. In 1941, actress Maureen O'Hara marries second husband, director Will Price, and they got divorced in 1953. In 1954, astronaut Buzz Aldrin weds Joan Archer. In 1957, American singer duo, the singing duo, Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. Of course, they were a married couple. They were married in Las Vegas, Nevada, back in 1957. In 1971, Tony Bennett weds actress Sandra Grant in Manhattan, New York. They got divorced in 1983. In 1997, actress Cate Blanchett weds screenwriter Andrew Upton. They got married in New South Wales, Australia. In 2004, the X-Files actress Gillian Anderson, she weds former journalist and documentary filmmaker Julian Julian Ozan, and they got married on Shellis Island in Lamu, Kenya. The year 2005, the soap opera One Life to Live actress Bree Williamson weds surfer Josh Evans in Costa Rica. The year 2008, jazz trumpeter Freddie Hubbard was born on this day. He passed away in 1930. He was born on this day, but he died. He died 2011 on this day. Or should I say 2008? He died 2008 on. Okay, got it together. Freddie Hubbard died the year 2000 on this day, 2008, and he was born in 1938. And moving right along, we have 2011, soul singer Bobby Purefire of the group, the duo James and Bobby Purefire with that big hit, I'm Your Puppet. He was passed away on this day, 2011, at the age of 72. And finally, 2020, Phyllis McGuire of the McGuire Sisters dies at the age of 89 years old. And that's this day in history. Those of you who know anything more about what happened on this day in history, and I didn't mention it because I don't know everything. Sometimes things go right by me, just like anybody else. Let me know, put it up there. I will see it, I will entertain it, I will relay it to each and every one of you. Thanks for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be here until the top of the hour. The name of the show is called Talk Back Live. And of course, we are here for those of you who are new for the first time. We're here each week at this time. Our time when we come on is 8 p.m. Eastern. That may be something else to you. You may live in another time zone. And whatever time zone that is, that's when we come on in your time zone. So thank you so much for joining us. And we've got a lot to talk about and a lot to do because the holidays are still on. You know, New Year's is coming right up. People are getting ready to celebrate, and people are getting ready to go out and party and do whatever they have to do. Unfortunately, some of the people who are stuck and stranded in those airports are going to have to celebrate their New Year's Eve and their New Year's Day there. That's unfortunate. That's unheard of. I've never heard of anything like this before. And, you know, so those of you who are at home and in the comforts of your own home and warmth and everything, you know, God bless you. And you're getting ready to enjoy your New Year's Eve. And we'll talk more about that because I know a lot of celebrations are going to be all around town. Now, first of all, before we even talk any further than that, a lot of you, I always ask if you want to come in and conversate, you can do that. You can get in touch with me personally. You can do that, right? And I have two ways of you doing that. You can do that by either emailing me or giving me a call, one or the other. I'm going to give you my email address first. Email address is frankallanprod@aol.com. Spell Allan, A-L-L-A-N. Frank Allan Prod, P-R-O-D. That's short for productions. frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. Or you can call my number. The number is 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. You can call there anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can call there, leave a message. If you want to know more about this program, or if you want to make comments, suggestions, and give us some ideas about the program, because we're coming up to a brand new year, changes come around, we always accept that. Even if you just want to say hi, whatever it is, you have that information to get in contact with me. And if you need us for any reason to get back to you, we will certainly have someone to do that too. So let me give you that email address again. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. frankallanprod@aol.com. Telephone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. Good enough? Okay. Okay, so getting back to the New Year's celebration, it's gonna, I am looking forward to a brand new year. I am certainly looking forward to a brand new year. We talked about New Year's revolution. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? Because people make them. What New Year's resolutions are, for those of you who are not really in the know of that, or people, sometimes they don't care about it, and some people who know about it just don't make them. And I'm one of them. I don't make New Year's resolutions. But New Year's resolutions are something that you vow to stick with. Let's say, for instance, I am going to make $10 million this year. That's a New Year's resolution. Now, of course, I would never make a resolution like that because I'm not going to stick to it. But if you're good enough and if you know better, and you know that you're going to make that kind of money, and you're going to make that New Year's resolution. I used to make New Year's resolutions, but I don't make them anymore because I never stick to them. And not so much not wanting to stick to them, but it's not so much wanting not to stick with them. You know, I can stick to them if I want, but I don't want to be obligated to stick to them. Put it that way. I don't want to be obligated, so I don't make them. But here's one thing that I do, and this is my personal thing. I don't know if anyone else does this, but this is one thing that I do. You see, each year at this particular time, I always evaluate. I always go back and think about what happened prior year. We're coming up to a new year, just a couple of days. And I often say, okay, here we are in 2022, we're about to leave 2022. Now I think back, that whole year of 2022, each month I think back, what happened, what did I do, what went right, what went wrong. And what I do is that I fix it, so when the new year comes up, it's going to be a better year than it was before. Let's say, for instance, me personally, I have zero tolerance, zero. I have zero tolerance for BS, all right? Lack of a better term. Maybe I should say just BS and leave it at that. I have zero tolerance for it. I have zero tolerance for drama. I have zero tolerance for procrastination, zero tolerance for it, you know? And so I think about everything that happened prior year, and I say, well, that's not going to happen again. Now, if it means saying, well, this person that I was hanging out with all year long, I'm just paraphrasing it, just an example. This person I was hanging out with all year long, all they did was give me negative attitudes and talk negatives about everything and held me back. And, you know, every time I wanted to reach a plateau in life or something for this year, make my goal in doing something, that person would always hold me back. So what I usually do in a case like that, situations like that, I get rid of it. Whatever happened this year that I don't want to happen the following year, the next year, which in this case will be a couple of days from now, 2023, I get rid of it. And that would mean I don't care what it is. Anything that's negative, no tolerance for it. If it's a friend, because you could always make new friends, no matter if it's a friend, a family member, or anything. In other words, low tolerance or no tolerance for people, places, and things. All right. Low tolerance for negativity from people, places, and things. People could be your best friend. It could be a family member. It could be someone you just met and say, well, I wish I never met them, so I'm not going to have them in my life anymore. People who made your life miserable. People who talk negative about themselves or other people and can't find a good word about anything, you don't need it. You get rid of it. You destroy it. You can always be cordial to them, but you don't have to have them in your lives anymore. People, places, and things. Places. I don't want to go to places where, you know, I know it's going to hold me back. And I just learned about Southwest Airlines. All right. 2023, you can count on me not ever flying Southwest Airlines. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know you're doing your best, but flying, first of all, is a pain in the butt. That's one thing. No matter what airline you're flying, it's a pain because you're going to the terminal, you're waiting on lines, you have to wait and see. Keep your fingers crossed that your flight is not canceled, and if it's canceled, it's not canceled by that much time. Then you have to board the flight. Then once you get on the flight, you got everyone up on the trying to put their bags in. It gets you a long time to your seat. And then you got other people who want to start a fight. They don't want to wear their mask. They don't want to do the things that's required of them to fly. All of that. All right. So you try to stay away from that. So you're staying away from negative people, places, and things. All right. Things. My thing is I eat healthy as much as I can, but then on the other hand, too, I fall off the wagon and I like, for instance, ice cream. I love my ice cream. The doctor told me one time, don't eat too much ice cream, which I agree with them. It has a lot of fat. All right. But I want to try to lessen on all of those things and eat a little more, you know, more vegetables and more of the good things that are good for me. That's what I want to do. So I want to make sure that's good. I want to live healthy this year. I want to be healthy this year. I want to be more energetic. I'm energetic now, but I want to be more energetic than I was before, you know, and I work at it. So those are the things that I do for the upcoming year. I work on a lot of things and just eliminate all of the negative and throw in all the positive. That's what I call a new year. And I'm going to be working on this show. I'm going to try to do better things on this show too as well for the brand new year. And hopefully you'll be out there as well to work on it. And that's why we need your help. That's why we always ask you, you know, if there's anything that you want to say, or if you have any comments, suggestions, you know, ideas about the show. We always welcome your thoughts. We always do that. That's what we do. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for the new year. We're going to do ourselves better, and I urge you to do the same thing. And just keep the faith. Just keep the faith. Keep things going. Do you know that the one of the other things, I'm going to say this too. We talk about negative news because there's a lot of it, and we hope that, I don't know how, it's a long shot, but we hope that some of the things that we hear about in the news kind of subside a little bit. For instance, here's something, okay? An Arizona judge last Saturday rejected Republican gubernatorial candidate, Kari Lake. You know who she is, right? Kari Lake. Now, she filed a lawsuit. You already know about that. She attempted to file a lawsuit and attempting to overturn her defeat. In other words, she lost the election, but she wants to overturn that, including there wasn't a clear or convincing evidence is misconduct, and affirming the judge confirmed that the victory goes to Democratic-elect Kathy Hobbs, or Katie Hobbs. All right. She calls herself Katie, so we'll call her Katie Hobbs. The election went to her, but Kari Lake she wants to overturn it, but now she can't do anything about it because the judge put it in her favor. It's done. We've heard this story before. Now these are kind of the negative things that I'm talking about. These are things that I'm talking about, and I want to shy away from all of that as well. I want to shy away from talking about this. Sometimes we can't avoid it, but I want to try as much as I can to avoid it. Okay. We hear a lot of other things, you know, like 345/666. That's one thing that I hope that we never even have to talk about again. As a matter of fact, I am throwing that out. It never happened, as far as I'm concerned. It never happened. Throw it out of the consciousness. Throw it out of the consciousness of your mind. Just throw it out. It never happened. If anyone asks me who was the 45th president of the United States, and I'll just simply say the country went on autopilot. That's a hell of a thing to say, isn't it? But that's exactly, as far as I'm concerned, my opinion. That's what happened. Here we have another guy here, you know, who's in that same vein, George Santos, right? Confesses, of course, all of his misinformation about his heritage and about his status, education status. And he says that he's Jewish. What is Jewish? You're Jewish. What is Jewish? You know, George Santos, of course, wants to, I don't know. I'm so over this. I don't know what he wants to do, but maybe he wants to throw his hat in the ring to run for president. And I can see him doing that. I can see Pence coming out doing that. As far as 345/666 Beast Incarnate, I just want to talk about that just for 1 second, just for 1 second. I don't know that's going to happen. There's just too many things going on with that. There's just too many problems with that. You know, so I don't know that's going to happen. I really don't. You know, and more negativity, more of these negative thoughts, these things, they come along. Here's another one. Mark Meadows burning documents. I'm pretty sure he's not trying to keep warm. He's burning documents. All right, we got that. That came in the news. You either burn your documents or you steal them. You put them under your jacket. You walk out of the White House and you claim they're yours, or I never seen them before. You know, and you got all of these people, So I would really like to avoid all of these people that we're talking about. And this is 2022, so I can continue to talk about them now, but I want to see if I can avoid talking about any of this stuff ever. Again, I'm not saying that I won't inject it a little bit because it's news, and of course, I bring it to you as well. And there may be something that you want to say about it anyway. But frankly, you know, you get tired of talking about it. It's all politics. And with all of these elements that go around in politics, it makes you wonder, you know, why it makes people who vote wonder, why am I voting? You know, why am I voting? I don't trust politicians. And that's what they're saying. A lot of people told me that. I don't trust these politicians. I just don't. They say one thing, they talk out of one side of their mouth and then talk out of the other side of their mouth. Once they get in there, it's a whole different story, you know, which quite frankly is true, you know. And you look for the day when you have people who actually run this country and do what they're supposed to be doing. It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't know if you have any opinions on that. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear what you think about it, because we've got a long way to go. We've got a long way to go. And 2023, it should be, for the country, we should be looking forward to something like this. And of course, always someone is going to throw a monkey wrench in a situation, you know. So I'm not saying that 2023 is going to bring us a flawless year, because nothing is flawless. But we want to see if we could just bypass it, just get it out of the way, get all these negative elements out of the way. What I say to these people who don't want to, who always say, you know, this is our country. How do you know? What are you Native American? No, I don't think so. We say, this is our country. We're going to take our country back. What do you mean by taking your country back? What do you mean by that? We're going to take our country back. What do you mean by that? You know, they say that, but they never explain what they mean by taking our country. Oh, we know what they mean. You know, but they don't have the guts to say what they really mean by we're going to take our country back. You're not taking anything. You just sit down and shut up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's do something positive. There's something that we always do, and it's the movies. And I like talking about these movies because these are movies that I picked out for you. And these are Turner Classic Movies. And I know that you like those classic movies. And so what we do is that we go down the line and we pick out some. Now, there are a lot of them that are great, but these are my picks of the week. And I just want to relay them to you because maybe this weekend, during the holiday, in conjunction with celebrating, partying with the whistle blowing and the noisemakers and all of that, you want to sit back for a minute or two and pick out a movie and watch something, catch up on movies. Well, I have a few that you might want to catch up on, so I'm going to relay them to you right away. Let's start with this one. Let's go back to 1984. It's not a black and white classic, but it's a good movie. 1984, A Soldier Story. Now, we talked about this movie before, but it's worth watching. A Soldier Story starring Harold Rollins and Adolph Caesar. The late Adolph Caesar, the late Howard Rollins. They star in this movie. Denzel Washington, he has a part in it too. And that's on Turner Classic Movies. And you can catch that Friday, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a soldier story. I think it's a good movie, and I think you'll like it. And while we're down to military action, here's another one. This goes back to 1954, The Caine Mutiny with Humphrey Bogart and Van Johnson. And that's also on Friday. You can catch that on Turner Classic Movies, 11:45 p.m. Eastern. That's close to midnight. If you're up that late, you can check it out. You can also DVR all of these movies if you don't get a chance to watch them all. That's The Caine Mutiny. I love that movie. I can watch that 100 times and not get tired of it. The Philadelphia Story, which was the original story, but it was remade and titled differently back in, I believe, in 1955, 1956, something like that, with Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby. This was called, and they named it High Society, but this is called The Philadelphia Story, 1940, starring Katharine Hepburn, Cary Grant, and James Stewart. That's on Turner Classic Movies, but it comes on Sunday. It comes on Sunday morning at 9:45 a.m. And just in case you don't want to wake up that early or you're off to church or something like that, you can DVR it and catch it and watch it at your latest convenience, your earliest convenience, or whenever your convenience. It's 9:45 a.m. That's this Philadelphia Story. Singing in the Rain from 1952, Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, and Debbie Reynolds. That's on too, a great musical, a classic. And that's on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Turner Classic Movies. And finally, here's something that we all like. 1967, In the Heat of the Night with Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger. 1967, that's on Turner Classic Movies. You can catch that. That's also on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And you can watch all of these movies and listen. You can go to Turner Classic Movies, and while you're there, you can scroll down the program guide and you'll catch more movies, something that I probably didn't mention here. It's right there. You could watch those too. That's the whole idea. But these are just my picks. So you scroll down and you watch them and you look at them and you say, okay, fine. I'm going to put that in my to-do list of what to watch this weekend. You can do that too. Also, you can go on Movie on Demand and catch up some of the free movies that dates back to the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. So that's a big line of movies from A to Z. And also, of course, if you like the newer movies, update movies, movies that are up to date, you can watch them on pay-per-view. And they're movies that are already in the movies. And I checked the prices. They're like $19.99 or something like that, $19.95 or something like that. And then you have the other movies that's $6.99 or something like that. Not so new. So there you have it. All of those great movies, you like it. So do that. So let me just quickly say these movies for you. It's called The Soldier Story. You can catch that Turner Classic Movie Friday at 8 p.m. Caine Mutiny, that's Friday at 11:45 p.m. The Philadelphia Story, Sunday at 9:45 a.m. Singing in the Rain, and that's Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And In the Heat of the Night, that's on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And I hope you like all of those movies. I think you'll enjoy it. Check it out. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for coffee hour. And Brian Camp will be here, DJ Pete will be here, sports and entertainment news. And of course, I hope that you'll be here too. Other than that, I will be back here next Thursday at 8 p.m. and it'll be a brand new year when we come back. More of Talk Back Live, Brian Camp for sports, and you and I and all of us together. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And you come back and see us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Until then, have yourself a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host Frank Allan. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.